Hey guys, it's your Best Fight Friends. I'm Rachel, that's Kelsey, and we're here to talk about UFC 269 in part.
We're talking about the main event, baby! I'm excited to watch. Of course, I'm excited to see UFC lightweight champion Charles Oliveira make his first title defense against Dustin Poirier. Rachel, this is a big fight, and honestly, I'm not sure if I even know who I think is going to win, much less know who's going to win.
No, I don't know, and we've talked about this before, how great it's great, but also something that makes it really difficult is when I like both fighters in a match.
Yeah.
So I love it because it's something really special and it kind of makes me smile. But at the same time, I'm oh, this is hard because I don't want anybody to lose.
Yeah, I'm really excited about it. Of course, Oliveira defeated Michael Chandler in just a terrific fight earlier this year. I was actually at that fight in Houston, Rachel, and it was an amazing experience. But the thing that struck me in that fight was the back and forth nature of that fight. And man, Oliveira deserved to be champion after he beat Chandler that night because it was almost over 3 or 4 times. It kept going back and forth, and I think that's the mark of a champion, somebody that can fight through adversity. I love his game. I love that he's a great striker. He's great on the ground. He's great everywhere. But man, when you talk about Dustin Poirier, you're talking about a guy who just knocked out Conor McGregor twice. I mean, if you want to say the second one was an injury, whatever. Those are knockouts. He looked great. He's looked great. Right, in his last, he's on a little win streak here. The last fight he lost was against former UFC lightweight champion Khabib Nurmagomedov, arguably the greatest lightweight champion in UFC history, right? A guy who nobody beat. Poirier is legit. He keeps getting better and better, it seems. He was the first guy to knock out Conor McGregor. That's a big deal, but I don't know, am I overvaluing that win? We don't really know what Conor is because he hardly ever fights.
Right.
So I really have no idea who's going to fight. And that, to me, makes it the most exciting.
Speaking of Conor McGregor, who Dustin Poirier recently kind of demolished, he kind of made some headlines this week because if he were to fight today, it doesn't look like he'd be fighting Dustin Poirier because he'd be in a new weight class.
That's right. He might be in a couple new weight classes. Right? He looks pretty swole.
190.
190. And he looks, when I saw the picture, I thought somebody was posting a funny picture and being Conor McGregor, a guy that looks like Conor McGregor or whatever. But then later I turned out that it actually was Conor McGregor. He looks absurdly large, like a bodybuilder almost.
Kind of wide, pretty wide and thick. So it's a surprising thing. Here's what made news on it is that some people accused Conor McGregor of photoshopping his own pictures. So basically putting his head on a picture of somebody else's body. And maybe. I was kind of well, maybe.
I wouldn't put it past Conor
to
do that.
How absurd Conor McGregor's behavior has been over the last year or so that somebody says, I think Conor photoshopped his head on somebody else's body. And I'm
you're probably.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could see that being the case.
Who knows? I've also seen recently some people suggest that here's the reason why Conor, first of all, they suggest that the picture's real, but they're suggesting that the reason he's getting all bulked up, is because he doesn't plan on fighting Dustin Poirier next. He plans on fighting
John Jones.
Not John Jones, his biggest rival, who has, by the way, 1 fight left on his UFC contract, Nate Diaz. Would be the 3rd fight between Conor McGregor and Nate Diaz.
Yeah.
I think that fight, both these guys aren't what they were. Let's just be honest, right? But they still sell a lot of pay-per-views against each other. It's arguably already the most heated. It's one of the best rivalries in UFC history. Let's see the 3rd fight before it's too late.
Yeah, I have to say that at this stage, here's the thing. As much as I might want a Conor McGregor figure to be highly competitive and doing his best, Rachel's not in charge of how people live their lives. And so this might be the next chapter for Conor McGregor, which means he's not competing at the highest level anymore. But man, is he entertaining people with some wild and crazy fights. And so, maybe you don't fight Dustin Poirier again. Maybe you come back and, you give us this trilogy, right? Trilogy? Is that what it is? Or rematch? Trilogy. I haven't been a UFC fan for that long.
Both.
Okay. Right, yeah. give us this because fans would, I mean, yeah. I mean, I am shocked at how much people love Nate Diaz. We were at you were at an event, right? And I watched it on TV.
No, you were there. You were in the crowd. Remember, you went to the press conference.
Okay. The pop for Nate Diaz, I was like, are you kidding me? Like, and
but
the way
lovable.
people react, after he fights, when I was like, oh, well, that clearly, wasn't a great match. People are just like, they love him. It is, it's really something to behold.
I love Nate Diaz, too. I think he's awesome. I want to see him fight Conor McGregor, and honestly, I think he probably beats Conor McGregor in the third fight if it's at 170, especially if Conor comes in as a bodybuilder. Dude, that's not going to work. If you need to go watch Anthony Joshua fight Andy Ruiz. It was a Ruiz at least. Then, yeah, it's a good lesson, I think.
While we're on this rabbit hole of this weight class / Conor McGregor talk, I saw an interesting... what it did is it showed stills of Conor McGregor and how he used to fight when he was at his prime, we'll say, versus how he came into the octagon most recently. And it's fascinating because when he fought Floyd Mayweather, it was so alien to me because at the time I did not follow MMA and I was like, I'd never seen a boxer doesn't come in doing the things that he does, but he doesn't fight like that anymore. I was like, oh, he looks more like a boxer now inside the cage than he does an MMA fighter. So it was interesting to see the comparison of the stills.
It is super interesting. You know what else is super interesting, Rachel?
Is it Real Talk with Kelsey and Rachel?
It totally is.
Oh, you should know yesterday when I did the show solo, I said Real Talk with Rachel and Kelsey.
Oh, and you just slid that in there. All of a sudden, the thing changes, the graphic change. It's fine.
Hey, you can comment, and subscribe. We'd really appreciate it. Let us know what you think about UFC 269, Oliveira versus Poirier. How many wrong ways can I say, just get that out of my mouth? Tell us what you think about Conor McGregor. Do you think he photoshopped his own photos? Do you think we're photoshopped?
Obviously we are.
I added all this gray.